What's going on, everyone? So, Anthony Irwin gave us an update in regards to the Lakers' plans and kind of targets for the center position. So, I want to go over that, of course, talk about it, give my thoughts, of course, hear yours down in the comments. So, again, this is per Anthony Irwin. The Lakers have been showing interest in Nick Claxton, Robert Williams III, and Walker Kessler on the trade market, while also monitoring Brook Lopez and Clint Capella as potential backups to whoever they acquire as their starting center. Again, this per Anthony Irwin. Sources close to the team reiterate that the internal plan is to trade for their starting center. Sources say they've held conversations with other teams about Nick Claxton, Robert Williams, Walker Kessler, and others. Then ideally use the taxpayer mid-level on his backup. Brook Lopez and Clint Capella are the two names most often linked to the Lakers. It's a solid plan, and they're considered likely to be able to execute. So again, this is something that I just think makes sense, right? I've talked about literally from day one. Right? If the Lakers want a true starting center, right, like a long-term answer at the center position, it's going to have to come via trade. You're going to have to trade for a Mark Williams and Nick Claxton, Robert Williams, something like that. Although Robert Williams, I don't really like as our starting center just because of his injury history, right? If you're trading for Robert Williams, I prefer him in a backup role. Nick Claxton, fine. Some of these other guys, fine. But if you're talking about a Robert Williams, is just too injury prone for my liking as your starting center. But he would be solid. He kind of fits that role. He's excellent rebounder, offensive rebounder, shot blocker, basically everything that you want. Big, physical, wrecking ball on the inside. I'd love to have a Robert Williams. I just don't really trust him center position. But if you want a starting center, you're gonna have to trade for him. And then based on other reports, the Lakers have an interest in a more veteran backup, which I get, right? You want a guy that you trust that has experience, that has been in these moments, right? That, yes, ideally you'd love to go get a Walker Kessler and a guy like that you can slot in as your starter. But if you're in a game 7, right, with a minute left, right, and you want that guy that has been there and had that experience, a guy like a Brook Lopez, a guy like a Clint Capella could make a little more sense that you can just kind of slot in and play that role. As far as between Clint Capella and Brook Lopez, generally speaking, I'd rather have a Clint Capella. He's younger, still one of the best offensive rebounders in the league, even in a limited kind of fading out role with Atlanta. Not because he was bad. I mean, he's not Houston Clint Capella, but he's still very good. He just, Atlanta just kind of went the younger route, which is fine, right? He still was a near double-double guy, right? I mean, his numbers per 36 are insane. He's like a 15 and 15 guy per 36. And for those that are because, you look at some guys per 36 and it's this guy is never really going to be that. No, Clint Capella's per 36, as video game numbers as it looks at times, has had multiple seasons with those exact stat lines. So again, I'm not expecting him to be that because I don't think he's going to play the role and play the minutes, but I do think he's a double-double guy even off the bench because one, Luka's going to make him look great, right? Luka's going to be feeding him all game. Plus, the second chance opportunity, still one of the best offensive rebounders in basketball and all that. Brook Lopez, I wouldn't hate to have Brook Lopez, right? Give you that floor spacing big, give you a guy that's won a championship, has experience, right? Never wanted to leave LA. Also, Brook Lopez is kind of more of that LeBron center, right? A Clint Capella is better for a Luka Doncic. He's more of a Luka type of center, right? Because Luka likes to create that dribble penetration, get in the teeth of the defense. Defense collapses, and then he's got the easy lob to the center, right? The guy in the dunker spot. And then if they don't collapse, then he's just shooting over the top, and it's a bucket, right? So it's a win-win scenario for him. Where LeBron, he likes it cleared out, right? And then put his head down, get to the basket, and then kick out to the shooter. So Brook Lopez makes sense for a LeBron, where a Clint Capella makes sense for a Luka Doncic. To me, I think it depends on the type of starting center you get, right? So, for example, if you were to get a Nick Claxton, I kind of like the idea of Brook Lopez more, right? So that way you have different looks at the center position, and even at times could run both, right? Where Clint Capella, you can't run Clint Capella and Nick Claxton because you don't have any floor space. At least Brook Lopez, you can kind of experiment with because he can stretch the floor and knock down the three ball, right? So, and then having the versatile bigs where you could have a Nick Claxton on the court at all times with Luka, But like when Luka's on the bench, Nick Claxton's on the bench with Luka getting his rest, and now you got Brook Lopez with LeBron. So, and LeBron likes those more veteran centers, and again, a guy that can spread the floor. So you can kind of mask that, right? But if you were to get somebody like, say, a Mark Williams, who's more of an offensive, skilled big, then I'd probably prefer somebody like a Clint Capella, right? To give you, again, those different parallels, those different types of center looks, right? Like, talk about it all the time. I really want to see the Lakers be chameleon-like. I want to see the Lakers be very, like, whatever the opponent throws at you, you can match. Right? You look at the 2020 roster. That Lakers team was exactly that. That Lakers team was a team that, hey, you want to go with, like, you look at Houston, where it was like they were just going 5 wide and shooting teams out the gym. And it was like, oh, you want to do that? Okay, that's fine. We have, Avery Bradley and Rajon Rondo and Alex Caruso and, Kyle Kuzma can defend on the perimeter. And LeBron James at that time, right, could defend point guards if you wanted to. And then even Anthony Davis and his ability to switch stuff, right? Like, hey, you want to go small? We can go small. You want to go big and run 2 bigs? Don't worry, we got you. A team like a Denver Nugget. Okay, don't worry about it. We can go with a Dwight Howard and a Anthony Davis, right? Like, I want to see the Lakers get back to that as best as possible, right? Like, you look at teams like OKC and, Indiana. And look, every year there's a different path, right? These two teams are nothing like Boston last year or Denver the year before, or, so like every year is a different path. But you look at these teams, right, and kind of the commonality and just the way that the league is going, period, in this space and pace type of league, right? Like these teams are running 3-4 guard lineups. Right? I mean, OKC was against Denver even was running like Jalen Williams at the 5 with like 4 guards around him. Right? It's just like your tallest guy on the court is like 6'7", and it was working. Right? You've seen them do that on multiple occasions. You've seen, Indiana even drop to that. Like Indiana is a great example of a team that can match regardless. Right? We've seen them run 2 bigs. We've seen them go with like Siakam at the 5. Right? Like they have that ability, or Obi Toppin at the 5. I want to see the Lakers become more like that. Right? Like we're never going to be Indiana and OKC. Right? Because we're more of a half court team. You have Luka, you have LeBron. You're not going to be that, space and pace, like pushing the tempo type of team. You're just not, right? Like, but you can still, again, match these opposing teams primarily for the defensive purposes, right? Being able to defend. Like Lakers have been atrocious defending out on the perimeter, right? But also on the inside and interior, which is a big focus. Lakers need it. I mean, look, Lakers, even if they just this offseason just got Clint Capella and Brook Lopez, would do wonders for this team. Are they a bona fide true contender? I don't know, right? Probably not, but who knows what a motivated, healthy, lost some weight, type of Luka Doncic looks like, with LeBron now as like your second option. It's never going to be your second option, but your second option, right? What does LeBron look like as your number 2 guy now? Right? We've never seen that in the history of his game, right? Anthony Davis at times has had that, but he also, more often than not, defers to LeBron. What does it look like when Luka is the guy and he's torching teams, right? And if you go get and solve your center position, now you got the shooting in the inside, right? Like, you don't think Clint Capella and Brook Lopez changes the Minnesota series? I'm not saying that the Lakers necessarily win that series, but you don't think that they win and make it more competitive and just a better overall series? Of course they do, right? And I think that they have a very good chance of winning that, right? So again, like, is it the perfect scenario at the center position? No, but it's better than their current. I mean, they literally don't have a center on their roster. I mean, Jackson Hayes is leaving, so is Alex Len. Right? I mean, maybe they bring Jackson Hayes back, but they're both unrestricted free agents, right? And then Christian Koloko and Trey Jamison, they're expected to retain, but those 2 guys are on 2-way deals, right? So neither of those guys are on the main roster. Like, Lakers need to solve the center position, all right? So just getting a guy that is not like unplayably bad would do wonders, right? Just Clint Capella by himself, you're talking about a double-double guy at the center position that still blocks shots and is one of the best offensive rebounders in basketball. He's going to do wonders for this team. Right? Again, it's not the best option, but if you have to go the gap route, I'm fine with it, right? If you have to go that, I don't want the Lakers to do that and just sit on their hands, right? Like, that's my concern, is that the Lakers just go get a Clint Capella and a Brook Lopez, or a Clint Capella and a Jericho Sims or something like that, and then just call it a season, right? Like, I hope that that's not what they do. If you were to go that route, I would prefer the Lakers go and, solve their other needs. Can you go get, an Andrew Wiggins, and, maybe go get another 3-and-D guy, right? Can you get 2 or 3 3-and-D guys, right, that slot in, and then now you're going with Clint Capella and Brook Lopez. Like, I wouldn't hate something like that. But, if the Lakers just kind of solve it in free agency and then that's it, then yeah, I prefer you, do something else. But no, we'll see. Again, if the Lakers are going to do this, it's going to have to be a starting center position. You're going to have to trade for it. It's just how it works, but I'm fine with that either way. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, pass question you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot, so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.